In this episode, we're going to watch as 4 different forces appeared during the phase of inflation. These are 4 fundamental forces which govern the universe today, so they're very important. They appeared in a similar way to ice freezing out of water, only there were 4 different types of ice. The 4 forces are gravity, strong nuclear force, the weak nuclear force, and the electromagnetic force, and I'll talk about them each in turn. Forces occur between particles. This makes this talk slightly difficult because I haven't discussed particles yet. I'm going to discuss them in the next episode. But for now, all we need to know is that particles are tiny specks of frozen energy which appeared after inflation ended during the Big Bang. So forces occur between particles. If we imagine 2 particles, then they can either attract or repel each other. And they do this by exchanging other particles called force particles. So basically there are 2 different types of particles. There are particles which we meet normally, and there are the other particles, usually invisible to us, which carry the force between them. And the scientific name for these force particles is gauge bosons, but that's not something you need to remember. Gravity is the first force I want to talk about. It's the one we're most familiar with. It's the one that holds us on the Earth. It's the weakest of all the four forces. It's the only one that works over a long distance. It's governed by Einstein's theory of general relativity, or at least it's explained by relativity. The laws, this theory, is different from the laws which govern the other 3 forces. And general relativity says that gravity is created by the curvature of space-time. If you imagine space-time as a flat sheet, then a solid object, such as a planet, placed on that flat sheet, deforms the sheet. We can imagine it as pressing the sheet down, and other objects are attracted to it because they slide down. It's a bit like having a heavy weight on a mattress. The mattress is bent down and other objects will roll into the depression. Slightly more complicated than that because space-time is 4-dimensional, but that's the idea. It is possible, according to theory, it should be that this force, gravity, is carried by a particle called a graviton particle. So far we have never discovered it, so scientists are currently searching for evidence of this particle using large experiments. The next force I want to talk about is the strong nuclear force. It's the strongest of all the 4 forces. It is the force which sticks together particles called quarks. We'll meet them next time. The force is carried by other particles called gluons. Again, we'll meet them next time. When gluons stick quarks together, they create particles called protons and neutrons. Again, we'll meet them next time. And it also sticks protons and neutrons together to form the nucleus of atoms, and we'll meet those in several episodes' time. Next force is the weak nuclear force. It's the weakest of all except gravity, and it causes radioactive decay of neutrons. Again, we'll meet them next time. It also enables the nuclear fusion, which enables stars to release energy. The 4th force I want to talk about is the electromagnetic force, and it's a force of repulsion or attraction between particles. And here I show 2 electrons, which are cloudy objects, and you feel this force if you touch something or when you sit on a chair. The electrons in your body are repelled by the electrons in the chair, and that's what holds you up. We have seen that the force of gravity is governed by the theory of general relativity, and the other 3 forces are governed by a theory called quantum mechanics, quantum field theory. These two theories are totally incompatible. Therefore, our laws of physics are incomplete. Fundamentally, we don't understand what's going on. We understand a lot, but we don't understand how the four forces are combined. But scientists think that there is a fundamental law, fundamental theory, which explains how the four forces work together. And at the moment, they are searching for this fundamental theory, the theory of everything. Without it, we cannot explain the origin of the universe, because at that time the four forces were united into a single force. We cannot explain that force, which is why we do not understand the origin of the universe. Thank you for watching, and if you like this story, you might like Time Crystal, which tells the history of the universe as a work of fiction. You can find out more at timecrystal.co.uk.